The last time we discussed Jim Clyburn, he had just got done securing about 17 acres of land for the Catawba Indian Nation through his bill H.R. 1619, better known as the Catawba Indian Nation Lands Act. Now, for the record, let me add that the Catawba Indian Nation was one of the most notorious groups of slave catchers along the North and South Carolina border. So notorious that black runaway slaves, if caught, preferred to be caught by white slave catchers rather than be caught by the Catawba. That's how terrified Jim Clyburn's people were of them. And now here he is, through legislation that he authored, ensuring the economic empowerment of that very nation. Concerning H.R. 1619, Catawba Tribal Chief Bill Harris stated, "Make no mistake, this legislation means more people will have good paying jobs, more kids will have a better education, and more people will have better housing and health care. That's what this bill really means." Now fast forward 6 weeks later to the present day, and as things currently stand, Joe Biden's black support is plummeting, as well as for the Democratic Party as a whole. Now, what could save the Democrats is if they actually signed into law legislation that exclusively addressed the specific needs of the black community. If they did that, that might actually save them in the midterm election. And I believe Representative Jim Clyburn understands that as well. And this is why he recently introduced H.R. 301. This piece of legislation is the beginning of closing the disparities between black and white America and righting the wrongs of the past.
So recently, I have been reflecting on this whole notion of what Benjamin Franklin is reported to have said when he was asked what he and the founding fathers had wrought. He's reported to have replied, "A republic, if you can keep it." Later on, Franklin joined with John Adams and Thomas Jefferson to propose that the Latin phrase "e pluribus unum," out of many one, be placed on our currency as the nation's motto. Our nation continues to struggle with the issues of race and equity. The threads of our fragile democracy are fraying, and as the people's representatives, it is incumbent upon us to make every effort to heed Franklin's words of concern and his and Adams and Jefferson's expression of unity. It is our responsibility to demonstrate, not only with our words, but by our actions, that we can and will keep this republic intact and its people unified. That is why I introduced H.R. 301 to designate the iconic hymn, "Lift Every Voice and Sing," the national hymn of the United States of America. Enshrining "Lift Every Voice and Sing" as our national hymn will be one such substantive step forward.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Now, you would have thought that after saying all of that, Clyburn's closing sentence would be the announcement of him introducing a revised version of H.R. 40 that was overseen by William Darity Jr. And if not that, then at least some sort of meaningful legislation that actually addresses the very serious needs of the black community exclusively. But in America, that would be too much like right. So no, what we'll offer you is more symbolism. On top of possibly delivering the first black female Supreme Court judge, we're going to make a song, "Lift Every Voice and Sing," a national hymn. Now let's really take a moment to digest this. Jim Clyburn of the Congressional Black Caucus was able to secure 17 acres of land for former slave catchers. Yet when it comes to his own people, the former slaves, his goal is to secure a song, not land, not any form of reparations, not even something as basic as putting more money into the schools that are in the black community. No, his goal was to secure some music and make that a national hymn. It almost doesn't even seem real how nonsensical this all is, but unfortunately it is real. And at some point we're going to have to do something about this. Now, some of us believe that we can pressure the Democratic Party to bend the knee and deliver meaningful legislation that meets the specific needs of the black community exclusively. Some believe that Black Americans should go Republican. Now, me personally, I don't believe in simply running from the left side of the jail cell to the right side of the jail cell out of spite, though I do understand the sentiment behind it. But as for me personally, the more I make these videos and the more I study the Democratic Party and their diabolical ways, the more I begin to lean heavier and heavier on being independent and building up our own political candidates like Marcel Dixon, who's running against Jim Clyburn to take his congressional seat in South Carolina's 6th District. And I feel strongly about that because, as you can clearly see, currently, Black American support for Joe Biden and the Democratic Party has fallen drastically. Yet despite this, they are not budging from their position concerning the benign neglect policy on Black America. If anything, they're doubling down. Really think about this for a moment. They are willing to lose seats in the House and in the Senate and possibly the presidency before they bend the knee to you. Brothers and sisters, that is a whole nother level of hatred and disdain. This is why, in my eyes, independence/grassroots is the way to go. Whether we're talking about Marcel for Congress or your local mayor or city council member, it's independent or bust. But if you're going to entertain mainstream politicians, and I'm not saying 100% not to, that's just not my preferred method at this point. But if that's what you're going to do, then at least make sure that your mindset going into it is policy over party. And with all that being said, that does it for today's video. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you'll be notified whenever I release a new video. All social media links will be pinned in the comment section below. Please make sure you text tdhiphop to number 33222. That's tdhiphop to number 33222. That way you'll get a direct text notification whenever I release a new video, but it also serves as a protection plan for myself in case YouTube ever gives this channel the axe. I'll be able to send you a direct link to where you can find me next. And last but not least, for those of you who have a love and appreciation for the work that I put in on this channel, the number one way you can show your support is through Patreon. For only $3 a month, that will help put me in position to take TD Hip Hop Media off of YouTube. Remember, the goal is not to grow big on YouTube, but to grow independent of YouTube. And for those who have issues with joining Patreon, you could also hit the join button that's next to the subscribe button, and that way you can become an official channel member for as little as $3 a month as well. And lastly, if you have not already, please make sure you join the emailing list. There is no way that I can go independent of YouTube if I cannot take the audience with me. And the link to that will be pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you for your time, and until the next video, peace.